Oh man, Cat Williams got everybody acting crazy. Let's talk about Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock. So, the origin of this beef, I don't know where this came from. I do know Jason Whitlock is a controversial figure. Says a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't like, especially black people. There's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with Jason Whitlock on, especially some of his political stances and stuff. I don't agree with him on some of the stuff that he's, the content that he's made about George Floyd or whatnot. But all in all, I think Jason Whitlock is entertaining. Same with Stephen A. Smith. I don't agree with everything Stephen A. Smith talks about. But I think he's also entertaining. I think they're both two talented people, right? So and even if I didn't like one and like the other or whatnot, I'm always gonna view everything from a I'm gonna treat everything fairly. So I'm never gonna look at anything from a biased standpoint or anything. I'm gonna call it right down the fucking middle. I don't know where this started. I do know Whitlock does do videos on different, on sports and sports personalities. And I do know he had a video, which I didn't watch, but he had a video regarding Stephen A's book that he made, right? I do know in the past, Whitlock has talked about Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith has never mentioned, prior to yesterday, Stephen A. Smith has never mentioned Whitlock, but he refers to him as, he mentioned him, but subliminally. He calls him a fat bastard all the time, right? But he's never said his name until yesterday. So they've had, a little bit back and forth, but yesterday's crazy rant from Stephen A. Smith where, he went crazy, man. He was cursing and all of that, man. It's another side of Stephen A. Smith, which I've seen, but he's got his own show doing this podcast. You're gonna get a much more raw and uncut Stephen A. Smith, right? And he's going in calling Jason Whitlock a fat bastard and fat bitch and all type of stuff. What it originated from, with this particular rant, not the whole beef, but this particular rant originated from was Jason Whitlock's video exposing, and I'm going to say exposing because that's what it was, exposing Stephen A's inconsistency on his story. Now, it's a petty story, but it was about Stephen A's basketball career. And Jason Whitlock, he ran through it all. He not just his basketball career, but some of his sports journalism in college and everything, but his basketball career in college. And Stephen A. Smith, talked about, they had a segment where they talked about he averaged 1.5 points a game. Stephen A. Smith said, well, I only played one game, but I cracked my knee. Then he came out on his show, on his podcast, YouTube podcast later, and said, well, I played 0 games. Still doesn't make any sense to why you would be only average if you played one game, there's no way you would average 1.5 points per game. But then you said this, where did they get the stat if you played 0 games? Are you saying you didn't finish the one game? Where would they get 1.5 from? There would have to be multiple games for it to be a 0.5, because, is there anything else that I need to explain with that, right? So there's that, and these are the inconsistencies Whitlock has pointed out, right? But if you actually, Whitlock went through it all. Like I said, it's petty, but the truth is the truth. Whitlock went and found the actual stat sheet and everything from that year, the 1990-91 at Winston-Salem, the college that Stephen A. Smith went to. And it's college or high school, I don't remember, but wherever Stephen A. Smith went to. I think Winston-Salem is the place where he got his, where he said he got his scholarship at, right? And there's a whole, inconsistencies with that story and all of that. Jason Whitlock outlined all of that. But even on the stat sheet, it's showing that Stephen A. played 9 games. Now, why he has to lie about this stuff, I don't know. I can figure, my only guess would be, you have a lot of people, he listens to the naysayers and people who talk shit and say, hey, why are you talking sports and you never played the game and all of that. So it's kind of like with Skip Bayless and his whole, college career or whatever he played. And so they try to discredit him using that. And so I guess they hold on dear to that type of stuff. I mean, I get it, but I think Stephen A. Smith is accomplished enough. Like I said, he's one of the top sports personalities in the game. And he makes a lot of good points. He knows what he's talking about a lot of times. Think he's a very charismatic figure, makes millions of dollars. I don't think he has to lie about stuff like that. But like I said, Jason Whitlock had it all well documented. So in response to all of these points that Jason Whitlock laid out, all of the evidence and everything, I mean, it was good evidence. Like I said, it was petulant, it was petty, but maybe there's something bigger to it. Maybe it calls into question Stephen A. Smith's character when it comes to, and I think that was kind of the point he was trying to make, his character when it comes to a lot of the stuff he talks about and how he presents himself in media. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Stephen A. Smith. Like I said, I'm looking at this through an objective lens, no bias or anything within any of this. But Stephen A. responds to all of this by calling names and basically talking about how nobody in the industry likes Jason Whitlock and Jason Whitlock is jealous of his position. These are basically ad hominem attacks because it has nothing to do with the points. You have not even addressed anything Whitlock is talking about. So, of course, but a lot of people in the industry don't like Jason Whitlock because of his politics. He leans more to the right, the conservative Republican side. I think, which doesn't matter which side it does matter. If you're dealing with the duopoly, I think you're lost in the sauce to begin with. But that's his choice. That's what he believes in, and he's got the right to believe in that. But we do know in the mainstream, especially Disney employees, ABC, ESPN, they're more leftist. A lot of those people, man, they're just the media in general. It's cool. It's cool, and it's the popular thing to hate the right, the quote unquote right wingers and conservatives and all of that. So it is what it is. So of course, when people are writing about this story and reporting on it, they're talking about Stephen A. Smith destroys Jason Whitlock because they don't know how to look at anything objectively. They're all biased. Doesn't matter if you dislike a person or not. Doesn't matter if a person is a bad person or not. If somebody says something right, if somebody says 2 + 2 is 4, you're not going to say, oh, that's wrong because you don't fucking like them. But that's how a lot of people, just in general, a lot of human beings operate. And it's, it's to their detriment. It's to their own detriment. People can act any way they want to act, but then they wonder why shit is the way it is. So, you do what you want to do. But this is how people are taking this whole thing with Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock. Like I said, Stephen A. Smith, I said this the third time saying this, but Stephen A. Smith, I think he's brilliant. I think he's a smart mind. But this shit looks like deflection. You did not, at no point during your hour rant, address any of the points Jason Whitlock brought out against you. And they were strong points. That question, hey, why you lying about this? I'm not saying you're a bad guy or anything like that, but you're lying. Even when it came to in the field that you're in journalism, there's a part where there's an inconsistency, where there's no proof of something that you claim that you wrote. So where's the discrepancy? Where does shit go wrong? Dispute what Jason Whitlock is saying. Debunk what he's saying about you. But you're a fat ass, you're a fat bastard, fat bitch. It's a bad look. It's a bad look. But of course, in the public's eyes, people gonna say, oh, Jason Whitlock got owned. Nobody likes him. It is what it is. But to intelligent people, looks bad on Stephen A. Smith. Looks bad on Stephen A. Smith. He was better off not even responding to this shit. Keep him right exactly where you at and keep getting your money. Stephen A. Smith is successful. I follow both of these guys. I'm subscribed to both of these guys' shows. I like, there's a whole bunch of different things I like putting on in the background and just listening to as I go through. I'm a busy man. So as I go through it about my day, I put these guys on in the background. I listen, every now and then I listen to both Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock. I think they're great, charismatic characters. Whether you like them or not, I personally like them. Don't give a damn. I think Stephen A. Smith should have just kept his mouth shut on this shit. Not even responded, because you came out looking bad. Anybody with an analytical eye, or who takes the time out, because the majority of people aren't even going to take the time out and watch the show that Jason Whitlock made and the points that he brought out about Stephen A. Smith. So they're just going to react and say, oh, yeah, burn. Yeah, he called him a fat ass, and all the salacious shit. So that's that. Stephen A. Smith, man, as of right now, you took the L to Whitlock, man. You were better off, man, staying quiet. But y'all let me know what y'all think. You think I'm wrong? I know I'm not wrong, but, let me know what y'all think about this whole situation. What y'all think about Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock, and was there any points that I missed in my summary of all of this? But yeah. The Grit Culture. I'll holler at y'all later.